Hey, what's going on, guys? Any Pride here, back with Milk and Cookies Total War. And the first thing that you might realize is that this is not Total War. This is Dota. This is actually going to be my first Dota 2 replay cast ever. It's going to be definitely a different, well, it's going to be the same style of commentary that I normally do, but it's definitely, obviously, a very different game from Total War. I'm going to do my best. I am not a professional. There are more qualified, more educated, more people that are just better than me at this game. But I do have some good game knowledge that I'll try to impart onto you guys. I am not, like I said, I'm not a professional, and I'm not going to go into the very nitty gritty basics of the game. This replay cast is going to be more of a style where you have some knowledge about Dota. So if you don't know anything about the game at all, what I would suggest is you watch PurgeGamers' introduction and walkthrough for new players. I'm going to leave that in the video description if you want to watch or read that first and then come watch this video. I think that'll help out a lot so you have a basic understanding of what Dota is about. I am going to be talking about some basic stuff, but I'm just not going to go into the very, very ground level kind of thing. So with that said, let's press play right now. And this game, I am going to be playing Outworld Destroyer. Now, Outworld Destroyer is otherwise known as Obsidian Devourer in Dota 1. He is a extremely high damage hero. He can put out more damage pretty much than a lot of other heroes in this game. He has 4 pretty unique abilities that are all about keeping his mana pool very, very high. And so let's go over his skills real quick. His Q is Arcane Orb. It's an orb effect, which basically deals pure damage based on how much of his mana pool is there. And this means that at late game, when he has a large mana pool, he can just 2 or 3 shot squishies. Support heroes that have low HP pools, he can kill very, very easily with this pure damage. But you have to build mana dependent items if you want to do that. He also has Astral Imprisonment, which is his W, and that basically banishes your opponent and makes it really hard for them to last hit and steals their mana pool, which is really important when you're trying to win the mid lane. He's a great mid. He's actually, I would consider, one of the top tier mids in the game, along with Templar Assassin, Magnus, Batrider, and some other heroes. He's one of the best mid heroes in the game because of this ability, because you can just basically steal your enemy's mana and make it so that when you try to kill them, they won't have any mana to cast abilities. He also has Essence Aura, which gives 25% chance to refill your mana pool. And that's a really, really powerful skill that basically means that in team fights, your allies will always have a full mana pool. And Sanity's Eclipse is his ultimate, and when you build high intelligence items or mana pool items, this basically can one-shot people later on in the game. It can do a ton of damage. So right now, I'm up against a Troll Warlord mid, and I pretty much already know that I'm going to win this lane. Troll Warlord is not a great mid, honestly. He's a early game carry. He can definitely snowball out of control, but he's not always a great mid, especially not against an Outworld Devourer. I can just steal his mana and harass him with Astral Imprisonment, and my base damage is at 63, while his is at 47, so last hitting is a lot easier for me to do than it is for him. And at this point, he actually has no CS at all. He doesn't have a single creep kill. He's at 0-0 right now. I already have 3 denies and 3 last hits. And this is basically just going to be an extremely hard lane for him to win because Outworld Devourer has such high base damage, and because I can just harass him with the Astral Imprisonment. So one of the amazing things about Outworld Devourer is, like I said, his pure damage can just go off the charts. Now, if you don't know what pure damage is basically it goes through no armor. Building armor does absolutely nothing for you against an Outworld Devourer. Physical attacks, basically there are 4 kinds of damage in Dota 2. There's physical, magical, pure, and composite. And physical can be reduced by armor, while pure absolutely cannot be reduced by armor. The only thing that counters pure damage is magic immunity, and that is actually one of the reasons why Outworld Devourer is not considered a late game hard carry, because if your opponents build Black King bars, which grant magic immunity for a 10-second period, it basically means that your damage does absolutely nothing to them. The good thing about Outworld Devourer, though, is that if they do not build Magic Immunity, your pure damage is off the charts. And like I said, you can 2 or 3 shot support heroes mid to late game, and so you can just do a ton of damage if they decide not to build Black King bars or Magic Immunity. And it is Arcane Orb is actually an orb effect, which means that you can toggle the ability and it just modifies your attack. Some other orb effects that you might know about are Drow Rangers, Ice Arrows. Another orb effect is Viper's Poison Attack. Those kind of things that increase the damage of or slowing effect of your right click. So at this point, Troll actually still does not have the last hit. He's definitely having a hard time in this lane. I already have 7 CS, and actually, let me talk about the item build for a second. When I go mid with a hero and I want to win the mid lane, I usually go with a Tango to start out with and 3 Ironwood Branches. This gives you a lot of stats early because Iron Branches give you +1 to all attributes, and the Tangos give you a little bit of regen, but it means that you start out with 350 gold in the bank already, and this allows you to get a fast bottle. Now, Outworld Devourer actually doesn't need a bottle in the mid lane because he has Essence Aura, which I've already skilled twice. I have 2 points in Astral Imprisonment, 2 in Essence Aura at this point. He doesn't actually need a bottle because just by casting Arcane Orb or Astral Imprisonment, he has a chance to regain 25% of his mana pool. But I still like having a bottle mid. It's just something I'm used to doing. And pretty much any other mid hero in the game should be getting a bottle. It gives you the health regen and the mana regen, and it gives you rune control. And it allows you so that after you gank a lane, like top or bottom lane, you can refill all of your health without having to go back to base. So I think the Tango 3 Ironwood Branches build is a really good idea for being able to get a fast bottle and start snowballing and winning mid really early. As you can see, Troll has no mana at this point, and I think one of the mistakes I made in this game was not going on him early. If I had gotten a point into Arcane Orb and made my right click much bigger, I think I could have killed him very easily. Without mana, Troll's not going to be able to run away from me. So I think one of the mistakes is that while I win mid lane pretty hard this game, I don't actually kill him, solo kill him mid, and I think I could have done that pretty easily. So I'm definitely, as soon as I hit level 6, which I'm about to, I'm going to skill Sanity's Eclipse, a really, really good ultimate, especially if the enemy heroes are not intelligence or mana-based heroes. And actually, let me talk about Sanity's Eclipse for a second. So it basically does damage in an area of effect based on the amount of difference in mana between me, well, I should say intelligence. The difference in intelligence between me and an opponent. So say Bounty Hunter had 300 mana early game, and I have 839 at this point. I'm going to do a ton of damage to him if I cast Sanity's Eclipse on him. But if I did it on another hero who say had the same amount of intelligence as I did and the same mana pool that I did, it would do no damage. Basically, if the enemy heroes have the same amount of intelligence as you do, your ultimate does absolutely no damage. So you don't want to cast it on intelligence heroes usually, unless you've started snowballing out of control and you have intelligence items that have made your mana pool a lot bigger. So rune control is very important for a mid hero. As you can see, I just went to get the bottom rune, and those runes spawn every 2 minutes, and I just picked up a regen rune. So now that I'm down here, I'm going to gank the bottom lane and help Sardar and Warlock win their lane. So I'm hiding at the moment. It just turned nighttime. I'm going to come around. We're not going to be able to kill Bounty Hunter because you can just go invisible and we don't have vision, but I'm going to cast Astral Imprisonment, cast Sanity's Eclipse, do a lot of damage. Sardar's going to stun, and Lion is now dead. Bounty Hunter's going to get away with a little bit of HP, but we weren't going to be able to kill him just because he can go invis and we didn't have any vision. So that's a good start for me. I'm already 1-0. Lion is down, and Bounty Hunter is going to have to probably go back to base if he doesn't want to die. He actually does choose to stay in lane for a little bit longer, but I think he's going to go back to base at this point. So it's a good start for me, 1-0. I am going to say right now that I absolutely destroyed this game. I do really, really well this game, but I definitely make some mistakes. And I think maybe the biggest issue I had this game was that I did a bad job casting my ultimate. Like you'll see a little bit later on, there are a couple times where I casted my ultimate, which has a 160-second cooldown, which is a really long cooldown. I cast it a couple times when I shouldn't have, and like it was basically a waste of an ultimate. You should honestly probably save it for when you're not sure that you're going to get the kill and you want to make sure that you can get it, or for team fights because it's a great AoE skill that can do a ton of damage to the enemy team. But if you don't save it, like I sometimes save it for solo ganks, and I don't know if it was really that bad of an idea to cast it, but you'll see what I mean later on. So at this point, my CS is very good, and I have a kill. I have 29 last hits and 19 assists. Absolutely destroying Troll Warlord mid. He has 6 and 5. I do think he was a kind of new player, so he definitely did have some struggles early on. We've actually already lost top tower, and Queen of Pain is soloing the top lane, so she has a lot of XP at the moment, but I don't like her item build, actually. Let's click on Queen of Pain for a second. She has a bottle and a Mantle of Intelligence. I think she already burned through all of her regen, but yeah, I didn't really like Jix build this game. Bottle isn't a terrible idea for Quap, who's in a solo lane, but I think there could have been better items for her to get. And she hasn't ganked at all. She's almost level 8, and she hasn't gone to any other lanes to try to kill. So I think Queen of Pain is definitely a ganker, and she should have been trying to make a bigger impact earlier on in the game. Doesn't do so though. So if we shift back to me, I am at the mid lane. Rubik got a DD rune, and he is with Troll Warlord mid. They're gonna harass me a little bit out of lane, but I've got plenty of regen, bottle, and tango still, and I just picked up power treads. Now, one thing that is very interesting about OD and some other ranged semi carries like Viper, Razor, Outworld Destroyer, they all kind of fall into this category. Any hero can benefit a lot from Mekansm, which is an item that gives you +5 armor and a 250 HP regen whenever you cast it. It does have a cooldown, obviously, but Mekansm is a great early game item for Outworld Destroyer. It gives him armor because he's a very, very squishy hero. He does a lot of damage, like I said, but he's very squishy. So if the enemy focuses you, you can die very easily. So Mekansm is a absolutely great item on him because it gives him armor, which gives him survivability, gives him tankiness, and it gives him that HP regen for the team, which is extremely, extremely important in a team fight that's going, if you want to win a team fight. So I am now ganking the Dire jungle. I didn't see Bounty Hunter because it was nighttime, but I see Lion. And as you can see, that's a waste of an ult. We have 3 people. Lion's not going to be able to get away. I shouldn't have done that, but we do get the kill on Lion. He's dead now, and I am 2-0 at this point. So yeah, you usually don't want to cast Sanity's Eclipse on a single target, especially when I had backup. Like I had a Queen of Pain and a Warlock backing me up there. Really, I didn't have to cast my ult at that point, but I did anyway, and I ensured the kill. So definitely a good start for me. I'm close to finishing Mekansm at this point. I have the headdress. And actually, another thing I forgot to mention is that another reason Mekansm is so good is that anytime you cast a spell, it gives you a 25%, as OD, it gives you a 25% chance it gives you a chance to refill 25% of your mana pool. And this means that when you pop Mekansm, you have a chance to regain 25% of your mana pool. So not only do you get the HP regen, not only do you get the armor, but you also get the chance to refill your mana pool. So, and he's obviously a very mana dependent hero. So that's a very, very, very good item. Spearbreaker is running away because he's almost dead. I'm coming to gank the bottom lane again, and I'm not actually sure that we go on this. Queen of Pain is kind of low. Slardar is definitely low, doesn't have any mana. So yeah, I decided to just back off at this point and not go in because I don't want to risk losing the early game advantage that we have at this point. Generally, the skill build you're going to see on an Outworld Devourer is maxing Astral Imprisonment and Essence Aura first. They're just too good to pass up early game. And then Arcane Orb is the kind of damage orb effect that you usually can't sustain until later game when you build in more intelligence items. So I have the headdress, have the buckler, just need the recipe now for Mekansm, and I'm going to start looking to team fight as soon as I get that Mekansm up. Let's look at Lycanthrope's build so far. He's got a pretty early Vladimir's. Yeah, he's in the top lane right now. Lycanthrope's build. He has Vladimir's Offering, Lifesteal, that's considered core on Lycanthrope, allows him to Roche early. Although I think this was the first time Big City Knight had ever used Lycanthrope, so I don't think he even Roches this game, which is something that you should definitely always do. You should go to Roshan early and try to get a early Roche, but let's shift to the middle lane because there's a team fight. Rubik is going to die, and we're going to be able to win this team fight pretty easily, actually. I do have Sanity's Eclipse, get bashed by Spirit Breaker, cast it on him, and I'm going to run away at this point. The team fight's getting pretty crazy. Troll Warlord is he killed Slardar, but I finished him off with a orb effect. And we took a 2-for-1 there. Rubik and Bounty Hunter, and Troll Warlord both died. Bounty Hunter has Slardar's ultimate on him, which gives him true vision. I'm going to dive at this point, past the tower, because I think I can get a kill on Bounty Hunter pretty easily. I actually don't. He goes back to base. I am tracked by Bounty Hunter, and I'm just going to bottle up real quick, get my regen up, and then come back around because Lion and Rubik do not realize that I'm still there, and they're both at really, really low HP. So I'm going to cast Astral Imprisonment on Lion, get him out of the fight, and then go on Rubik because he has almost no HP. And one right click from him on him will kill him, and so I am 4-0, dominating at this point. And Spirit Breaker is going to charge me and decide that that's not a good idea, and he's going to back off. So that was a really good team fight for us. We got 3 kills there. I believe they only killed Lycanthrope. Oh, actually they killed Slardar as well, but I believe he bought back. And Queen of Pain actually disconnected, so we didn't actually notice it until like 4 minutes later, which is kind of funny. But there will be a pause in about like 5 minutes that we'll probably just edit out of the video. So, finished Mekansm, got the HP regen, and the armor now. Pretty tanky at this point for an Outworld Devourer at 14 minutes. I'm already level 10. And I have an Invis rune. I'm going to come around, and Lion has absolutely no idea I'm there, and he's going to die. Just a couple right clicks on him, and he is going to be dead. So, 5-0 at this point. Really good start for me. Really bad start for the Radiant team. And it's only going to get worse.